Hi, good morning, Brian.
Hi, morning, Kumaran.
Pleasure to see you again, my friend.
Indeed, yeah.
So thank you, Brian, for coming on board Your Voice, Your Legacy. And I reached out to you, and you're very kind enough and graceful enough to come on board Your Voice, Your Legacy, which is a program where we connect with insurance professionals, financial advisors across the region to hear what wonderful things they are doing, their inspirations into the industry, and of course, their words of advice and wisdom to our peers in the insurance collective community. So thank you very much, Brian.
Well, I'm very honored to be invited.
Well, it's such an interesting scene to be in and times that we are in. So first, let me just get to know more about you. Let our audience get to know more about Brian. So who is Brian the person?
Sure, Kumaran. So I got venture. I ventured into this financial advisory industry, sort of like out of interest, honestly. When I first got my job, I actually had a bachelor degrees in computer science. So it's a totally different area compared to finance. This was back in the early 2000s, where, during the tech boom and everything, everyone was going into, tech and IT stuff, right? So what happened was, once I got my first paycheck, I started having an income, right, on a monthly basis. So that got me started interested on how do I manage my own money. And during back then in the days, right, I'm not sure, how young are you back then. One of the very popular book that's running around is the book by Robert Kiyosaki, right, Rich Dad and Poor Dad. It was really popular during that time. So a lot of people are reading it. So I got myself reading into that as well. And I got really extremely interested into managing money. So that's when I ventured into this industry on a part-time basis. I joined a mutual fund company in Malaysia, distributing unit trusts or mutual funds. We also have an agency structure. So I ventured into that, and I did this on a part-time basis. And at the same time, I also signed up and studied my CFP, the certified financial planner designation. So I took my time. It took me about 3 years to complete that, and I obtained my CFP back in 2006. Right, that's how long it's been. Right, so it has been like roughly about 20 years since then. And back in 2008, during the financial crisis, that's where our local regulators here in Malaysia, Securities Commission and Bank Negara, our central bank, they started developing this channel called the Financial Advisory Channel, right? So the Financial Advisory Channel, or also the financial planners, it's a group of professionals where we are independent. We are not tied to any providers, not tied to any insurers or fund houses. So, but we are independent in nature, and the purpose is for us to go out to the market and advise and help individuals, right, with their personal finances. So it's actually a natural progression from me, right, from my interest in investing, in helping people in managing their finances. So when this license came up, so that is where also I leaped into it. And I took on my license back then, back in 2008. So it's been quite a while now. So what happened was, in the first few years, I practiced as a practitioner. I went out there and meet clients, talk to them about their financial plan, how they should insure themselves on risk management, how they should do their own investments as well. But gradually what happened was, I find it increasingly difficult to practice, because I kind of like had to do everything on my own back then with the company I'm attached to. I have to study fund fact sheets. I have to do my own marketing. I have to write my own marketing script. So it was really overwhelming with a lot of admin work and stuff. So what happened sometime in 2014 is then I got to know the Financial Alliance Group, the company that I am currently with. So what happens was they venture into Malaysia and they want to set up a local branch here. So I still have that passion to practice as a financial planner, and I was looking for a platform, or rather a company that can support me in that vision. So because they are new, everything is pretty empty, and it wasn't set up yet. So I offered myself to come in and help set up the whole entire operations, with the hope that once the operational stabilize, then I can then come out and practice, right? But interesting thing is it has been 8 years since then, and the work is never done, right? Yeah. So that's roughly insights of how I get into this and what I do, what I'm doing currently.
Wow, that's such a history, right, Brian? I mean, going through all of that, computer science to financial advisory,
Yeah.
and then setting up and helping set up Financial Alliance in Malaysia as well. Singapore, in Singapore, Financial Alliance is one of the largest IFAs. And I believe they have more than 400 financial advisors under the
That's right. Yeah.
at this stage. So, okay, you spoke about something in the hope that you would get back to practicing.
Correct.
How much do you miss it, Brian? And what is it that triggers you to want to get back into the advice and the financial counseling as well?
I think the desire is really to help people, right? It's always driven by the desire to help people how to manage their finances. And I was surprised, a couple of years after I graduate from the university, when I catch back with my friends, my university mates, and was talking to them, and some of them they have rake up quite a sizable amount of credit card debts. So people are not wise in their spending, and when you're in your 20s, you have to look at things like buying a house. I mean, buying a car first in Malaysia, then buying a house, settle down, getting married. So a lot of people they are caught up by their daily things, right? Daily work, daily life, enjoying life, and things like that. But they don't, or rather, they don't spend enough time in looking into their finances. And how they should, build up a fortress and make it bulletproof, so that they have a peace of mind, and they don't have to worry about, what if certain things happen and they're not able to cope. So it has always been that passion for me to go out there and meet clients and really give them good quality advice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And is this then translated to your team that you have with you right now?
Oh, definitely. So of course, since then I have changed role, and now my drive, or rather my obsession, is to make our team, that's mean the team that join me, become extremely successful in what they do. Right. So I've since for the past 8 years devoted my time and effort in building a platform, or rather in building a company where financial advisors can come and join us and practice. Right. So we give them as much as possible the support, the back-end support, the marketing, the financial analysis, the tools and technology, everything from A to Z. So all the things that I miss doing, or rather all the support that I don't have previously on my own. So I'm putting a lot of my effort to build this, so that we can create what I call a home for financial advisors to come in and practice their profession.
I think that is great, Brian. What you're driving at home mainly forms an ecosystem for the advisors, right? And you are right to say, right, what you missed out, all that support in terms of product knowledge, training, marketing, client support services, all these things. I think that was the seed and catalyst for you, right? Because you are doing everything in one.
That's right, yeah.
Setting up an FA is pretty much that. It's all these ancillary ecosystem of services, which then support the entire financial process or journey, right? Now, what I've noticed is there is a lot of emphasis on FAs in Malaysia, as opposed to the tied agencies. Can you tell us a bit of a difference between the tied agency force and the FAs?
Sure, definitely, Kamran. So in Malaysia, traditionally, the financial intermediaries, and currently as well, is dominated by the tied insurance agents. They are agents employed, or rather directly have an agency agreement directly with the insurance providers. So they are still majority in the market. And the second channel that is pretty common nowadays is also the banker assurance. Right. This means, the staff or the employees at the banking branches, they also distribute financial products related to insurance and also investments. Now, what has been sold, the seed that has been sown, like I told you about 15, 16 years ago, is this new channel called the financial advisors or the financial planners channel in Malaysia. And we get a lot of support from our regulators, both the central bank, Bank Negara, and also Securities Commission, to develop this channel as an alternative, where our focus is also firstly independence. We give independence and unbiased advice because we don't have any sales quota. We are not tied to any requirements from the product providers. And secondly is we have a larger range suite of product. For a bank or for an insurance agent, largely their products are limited to a single company. It's not to say that it's not good. It works majority of the time, to be honest. But for someone who are looking for a little bit more options, then when they come to us, we are able to provide that options to our clients. So these are the two key role as a financial advisors in Malaysia. So our numbers in Malaysia are still extremely small compared to the larger distribution channel and compared to the population here in Malaysia. At last count, I think we only have slightly above 1,000 financial advisors here in Malaysia. So it has been a pretty uphill climb for us, due to the fact that firstly, it is not easy to set up an FA firm. Like you have mentioned, we practically run like an insurance company. We need to have our own compliance, our own training department, marketing, finance, everything, right? Secondly, there is a higher barrier of entry when you want to become a financial advisor. So to go into as an insurance agent or a unit trust agent, typically they just have to sit for 1 or 2 paper, and they can start training and getting the knowledge and start marketing. Whereas for us financial advisors, initially when I first came into the industry, the requirement is you must have CFP certification or equivalent. Right. So, and that one, for me, myself, it took me 3 years, right? The fastest a person can get, to get the full 6 papers, or rather now 4 papers, it probably take 1.5 years. So with that, right, we have a very high barrier of entry. So since I think back in 2014 thereabouts, they have actually lowered the entry requirement a bit, but still, instead of the full 7 papers or so, we now only need to take 3 to 4 papers. But even that itself is not as quick or as easy as the examination to be an insurance agent. So that is one thing. And of course, there are various other factors as well, which I will not go into, but I think that would be the main gist of it.
That's very interesting, Brian, because when we look and compare towards where the IFA or the FA scene here is in Singapore, here it is really ballooning up on a very large scale.
Yes.
Again, this is about the same time that you're talking about in the 2015, during that era, where we had a lot of digital product distribution here in Singapore. That's when it kickstarted the process, where people could buy insurance online. And then there was a much more better need and representation of advisors who had the benefits of a suite of products from different companies. Now, a key thing is, again, the sort of enticing people to move from the tied agency model to an FA model. It takes a lot of time, and I completely agree with you on that. It's as if you're leaving. It seems you're leaving a government job to join the private sector. If you look at that support, people fail to realize that the same ecosystem and the efforts and energies that's put to build an FA is very buoyant. And what I like about the FAs, it is very flexible on that note. And what I look at is the barriers to entry. As you mentioned, they reduce the barriers to entry for financial advisors, for insurance consultants to join the industry. Now, is there anything that you're doing which sort of builds an academy for these keen individuals who would love to shift?
Yeah, at the moment, we focus on the non-technical side of training. Right, meaning leadership, entrepreneurship, advisory skills, sales skills. For majority of the technical side of it, we do have certification bodies right? Like the Financial Planning Association of Malaysia, who certifies the CFP certifications. So we leave that to the other educational providers to do the technical side of things. But when financial advisor finally came and joined us, that means they got the academic or technical side of the paper done up. When they come in and join us, this is where then we will polish up the soft skills, or we polish up the entrepreneurial skill, starting with the mindset, how you should build your business as a business that you can literally grow and sustain, and also, leave a legacy behind. We tell them about business strategy, business planning, and all the entire things that, that's not taught in school.
Yeah, that's so important, right, Brian? I think that's one of the things that we resonated on. The technical skills aside, so much of emphasis has to be put on the soft skills. And we are not just talking about prospecting or referrals, it's beyond that. It's building that community, building that culture that is very essential to them being financial planners or financial advisors. It's a different role completely.
Absolutely. I think I want to just jump in here with a thought that that's also one of the reasons I really love this profession that we are in. I know there are a lot of misconception when people say you're a financial advisor or rather you're an insurance agent. You just want to come and meet and sell the products to me and things like that. But it's not that. I know there are certain bad apples in our profession, but by and large, I believe we are really doing a good thing. Firstly is, of course, we are helping our clients, firstly, to get protected. That's very, very important in case of calamity. Like nowadays, it's so uncertain, right? We have seen that, especially over the past 2 years during the pandemic, you won't know if you get hospitalized. And back then in Malaysia, the public hospital, government hospital is full. They can't treat the COVID patients. Some of them who are more able, they get better service in the private hospital. And the cost is enormous. It costs like probably a few $100,000, for a week of stay. And a lot of people's money are being wiped out because of that. So it is our duty really to ensure our clients are protected from all this catastrophic risk. Secondly, of course, you have all the other things like building your wealth, securing your wealth, ensuring a legacy that lasts across multiple generations. So we are really adding value to people who actually are able to understand, what kind of value that we can give to them. That's the first part. The second part is, I would see it as really the personal growth of the individual. Like people who join us, we put in a lot of resources to build up. Like I said earlier, we are really obsessed with their success, because if they are successful, then my firm, the company, would be successful as well. So we really literally change their mindset. We teach them presentation skill. We teach them about the markets. We teach them how to analyze a client's financial situations. So we teach them all this kind of skill, both technical and also entrepreneurial matters. So we have seen, I personally have seen, they are people who join us from different industry. There were some engineers who were retrenched some time back in Malaysia, and they stepped into our firm, and they have grown so much more confident, and they have grown so much more business-minded, and literally their life has changed. So you can see we are actually impacting two sides of the population. Firstly is the end clients. Secondly is the insurance, or rather the financial advisory professionals themselves.
That's great. It's so organic the way our industry is, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
On one end of the spectrum here, you are doing your job in a holistic manner. And the other end, you get rewarded as well for the good service, the good advice, and the good practice that you put into play. Now, at this stage, Brian, what are the challenges that the industry faces, our insurance industry in Malaysia? Are there any challenges that are present at this stage?
Well, I think there are many. If you talk about the larger population in Malaysia, during the pandemic, there are a lot of segments of the society are impacted. Mostly the middle class and the lower income individuals, they find it extremely difficult to survive because, you know, shops are closed and businesses closed down and a lot of people actually lost their job. Right. So my heart really goes out to them, and some of them are still, you know, finding ways, struggling to get out of this current situation. So with that, what happened was their finances are impacted very, very greatly. Right, as they have to dig into their savings, they have to dig into their EPF, which is the CPF equivalent, and they are literally, some of them have to sell assets and things like that so that they can put food on the table. So what happens was then, because of a large segment of society, even businesses themselves are struggling. Some businesses, you know, their revenue dipped overnight, especially F&B segments and things like that. So a lot of our clients are actually affected. So when they are affected and they are not able then to continue to service their insurance premium, or rather, and for wealth accumulation, they are also not able to continue to save or set aside money to save for the longer term. So this is definitely one segment which is the majority of the population. Then of course there are people who are better. You know, at the same time, there are people who actually made a lot of money during the pandemic. So these are the type of clients who also come to us as well, because we serve you know, a wide spectrum of clients. So they have been investing rather heavily with us, and it has been really rewarding the past 2 years. So the challenge in the industry is, I think, my heart really goes out to more of the larger segment of the population, because they are the ones that are mostly affected by this kind of event, because they have not built up their financial fortress. So my biggest challenge from the company right now is actually we do not have enough people to reach out, because our numbers are small, to reach out to the larger number of the population. So we do as much as we can. You know, the past 2 years have taught us a lot about webinars, a lot about outreaches. So we have done a lot. In fact, we've done a series of weekly webinars on different topics. Right, these webinars are not meant to sell products, but these webinars are really meant to give a financial literacy, right? The financial skills to our clients, and it covers a wide range of topics. So it is still on our website. It's available on to view on demand as well. So that's what we did during the pandemic, among many things. So as we are now crawling, rather, you know, getting out of the current situation, and we are still hit by the Omicron and the Ukraine-Russian war and things like that. So it has been very dynamic, and what we want to do is we try to remain agile and flexible and continue to pursue our main vision, which is really literally to go out there and help men on the street with their finances.
Right. So that is the direction that you guys are going to take for the year moving forward. Is there anything interesting or exciting that you would like to share with us that your firm and you and your team are going to roll out to the public at large?
Wow. We have quite a number of things building up in the back end. Mostly, of course, it relates to digitalizations, digitalizing a lot of our processes. Over the past 2 years during the pandemic, what we have done is we have built from the ground up CRM, customer relationship management, and a bit of enterprise management system to really help consolidate all our backend data. So this is what we do when we don't go out and do sales. We do a lot of things to improve our own processes. Yeah. So it is. I would think it is literally a game changer because as financial professionals, we deal with so many things, so many data, and some of it is on a laptop, some of it is on our server and things like that. So what we did is we built a cloud solution and we integrate all this together, and now it's available anytime, anywhere, as long as you have an internet connection and with any devices as well. well. So you could literally pick up a phone, you know, while you going out there and talk to your client. If you need to take a photo of the IC or any documents that you scribbled out on the paper, you can just take it, whip up your phone, take a picture on your phone, and it'll be immediately sent to the cloud. And when you get back to your office, you or your secretary can access that itself. You can type notes and things of it. So that's a game changer on how we help our financial planners, financial advisors to do their job better. Okay, so now the next phase of growth is literally how do we then make this technology to make the life of our clients easier as well. Yeah. So there have been a bit of what do you call that? Brainstorming about what we can do. We don't have anything solid at the moment, but we are definitely excited to continue in this strive to make things easier for our clients.
Oh, that's great, Brian. And technology is something that we all have somehow forced to be adapted to.
Right.
In the past year or two. Now, you know, our industry, Brian, is the most resistant to change, the insurance industry. And I'm sure you know that. Now, how do you then impart this to your team? How do you get your team to buy into this vision and value that you and FA are bringing to them? And then, you know, you said you're in that process of getting the end user who are the clients into this process. So how does that come into play here?
I think firstly is the presentation of the solutions that we can give. Secondly is sometimes we do need a certain catalyst, so to speak. And to be honest, even before the pandemic, right, what happened is in my company is because we have our financial advisors across Malaysia, and Malaysia is much larger, you know, geographically compared to Singapore. So even before the pandemic, we have been conducting monthly team meetings using, you know, video conferencing. And we have been, you know, doing a lot of our business processes on the cloud. So what happened was back in 2020, when the government, you know, announced a lockdown, we only have a day and a half notice. Okay, so I was just scrambling out, and what I did was actually I just went out and bought a couple of used laptops, and I gave it to my staff. And on the second day when the full lockdown was came in, we were all working remotely, and it was fine for us because we already have this practice of doing virtual meetings, and we already have access to our files and everything, not on a local server, but on the cloud. So it barely disrupt our business operations, which is extremely good. I'm still able to pay my staff salary. I'm still able to pay out the revenue income to our financial advisors. No disruption whatsoever. Right. So I understand that there are companies who are not who has not adapted to this method. They are really struggling, right? Because their system, their software is only available in the office at that particular computer and things like that. So their business is disrupted. So one thing good that really came out from this pandemic is it kind of like nudges or push our clients to go online. Yeah. You know, before that, right? You ask people to come and join a webinar and say, what is this? So we were doing seminars in hotel, conference room and things like that. That's what we have been doing. But now clients are more willing to meet you online, right? So that is one thing that pushes this. So I think going forward as well, we need to rather instigate the change in our financial advisors. And like one thing that we are also focusing on currently is actually personal branding via the digital channel of digital marketing, not from the company perspective, but from the individual perspective. Because there's so many people, or so many advisors in the market, right? So how do we stand out as an individual, not as a company? So you have to really put in the effort, the strategy to build your personal brand, so that your face, your services, everything is out there and people knows you. So there are really a lot of initiatives that we are rolling out in these times.
When you speak about branding, that resonates with what we do as well. And what we have realized, right, Brian, when I speak to different individuals, regardless of whether they're from Singapore, Malaysia, Cambodia, Vietnam, or Indonesia, or which stage they are in, there is always a personal story.
Yeah.
And that resonates with their potential clients or their existing clients as well. And to bring that out is so important in the branding strategy.
Correct.
I'm
yeah.
so with you on that. And unlike the tight agency model, because your branding is related to company A, B, or C, right?
Yes.
You are able to craft your own niche. You're able to stand out. And as an FA model, while you have the support that comes in, your entrepreneurial flair is a lot more amplified.
That's right. Yeah. Because our clients, they really buy the person rather than buy the product. Once the trust is built.
Yes, I completely agree on that. They're actually buying the person and the enthusiasm and the value that they bring in, their knowledge, their skill, and at the same time, their sincerity. And that is always expressed first on that note. And that's what I love about this model, because it does bring out the best out of the individual. And at the same time, it gives them the ability to really spread their horizons on how they work with their clients. They become a practice themselves.
Correct, yeah.
Process.
So they upskill themselves and they become a better version of themselves, compared to the time before they joined, and now they have been with us a few years. We really can see the change.
I agree with that. It's so unique, because when I speak to people in the tight agency force and I speak to people in the FAs, they all are yearning and thirsting for the same thing.
Exactly.
They're working towards a common goal and the nobility of our industry, but there is always a stark difference on how they view themselves or how they position themselves. And of course, across the region as well, there is a huge change in how each individual is considered, or how insurance is bought or sold. So it's very unique when we look at regions and then compare that with the individual and how they position themselves. Well, Brian, thank you so much for your wonderful insights into what you do.
My pleasure. Yeah.
Brian, before we wrap up, could you tell us or share your thoughts or values of wisdom to the Insurance Collective community? Anything that you would like to put out to them?
Oh, wow. Can't think of anything in particular, but maybe I think in our line of business, we really look for people who are like-minded, who hold the same values, and I think that's the driving force behind what we do, right? So it's the big why behind the what that we do. I think it is very important for us to know that center, or rather that driving force and that purpose. Your life purpose or your career purpose, to refine that and really to hold that to your heart, right? Once you are extremely clear in what you do and how you're going to grow your business, I think you can really fly in the industry.
Thank you so much, Brian. I'm sure that wisdom nuggets is going to make a lot of sense and resonate with people in the industry. I'm very certain that people who join the industry, who come into the industry, some way or the other, the industry chooses them.
That's right. I can resonate with that as well.
And sooner they realize that the industry chose them and not the other way around, that's where I think success is going to grow and build up as well.
Yes. Well, it's an awesome business that we are in.
I agree, Brian. So once again, thank you so much for your voice, your wisdom, and your legacy that you have set out for everyone that works with you and everyone who continues to come into contact with you. For me, certainly it has been a pleasure. And I do hope that we continue to engage in more sessions together.
Yeah, most welcome. I look forward to speak to you again.
Thank you, Brian. Appreciate it. Have a wonderful day ahead.
You too. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure.